dominant. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I want to show you my work as well. And the next one is Lorenzo Mattotti, very famous Italian artist, so now he's living in Paris in France. I was lucky to meet him 4 years ago in Toronto on the Toronto Comic Art Festival. He's an amazing guy, and he had an amazing speech and presentation, and I do believe he's one of the greatest when it comes to composition and color. So he's really, really powerful, and he changes his materials all the time. Usually it's just the color crayons, but he can use dry brush, nib pen, many other things, acrylics, and all the things that are telling a different story. So really, really beautiful. If you do get a chance, go online and check this guy. He's absolutely amazing. One of my favorite children illustrators is American Carson Ellis, and I'm showing you this image for one reason, one on the right. And as you can see, this is a structure. So we are going to try to do this in the workshop. This is the entire structure of the book. So the same structure visually is going to be there if you are creating the book for children, if you are creating comics, if you are creating any kind of narrative, and of course if you are creating the storyboard for animated movies. So where do you put certain images, in what order, where are you going to put something that is more intense or less intense, where are you going to take a break so the audience can have a little bit of time to process the information. So it's very, very important. And those are just a couple of images over there. And when I was telling you, do something a little bit unusual. So on the left side, this is the poster for the band. Carson Ellis is actually playing in this band. The name of the band is the Sambarists with her husband. And of course, this image might be a beautiful image if this is only the musicians. But if the musicians are on the tree, the story is becoming a little bit unusual. So do something unusual with the storytelling, and you're going to create something that is going to be memorable. Otherwise, it's just going to fall flat as the image. This one is a Spanish artist from Barcelona. His name is Javier Mariscal, and he's a master of variety. So I'm just going to show you this one because he actually covers all the things. He started as a comic artist, underground comic artist in 60s, 70s in Barcelona, and gradually moving to graphic design, typography, industrial design, and you will see a couple of things. So different visual communication areas. Some of the installations, so this is his work actually, so things that are in Barcelona or there in front of us, it's crazy lobster, it's huge. And furniture over there. But also, if you have been to Spain, you know something about the lights and something about the sun. So it perfectly captures everything that is in Barcelona. So entire identity of the city, you can just see the poster and immediately grasp what is going on. And also, if you're an art historian, you know that this is very subtle homage to Juan Miró as well. He's also a Spanish artist, he's just amazing. And of course he created, you might see these ones. This is just a mascot for the Olympic Games in Barcelona. Beautiful work, and it's very, very memorable. Have you read this book? Do you know anything about this book? So this is a pretty important book, so I do recommend to all my students to read this book. It's very, very important, and it's very, very smart. So understanding comics, Scott McCloud, he's a comic artist, but also comic theorist and art historian. And you will see a couple of images over there in the book. One that I wanted to talk, and I will talk this on Monday as well, is what happens if we start with reality. So if Renee is over there, and I want to make a drawing of Renee as is, so Renee is just going to be Renee. But if I simplify Renee as he will simplify on his business card, you're going to get this one later. Renee is going to, you are going to add to Renee's face a little bit of your imagination. So sometimes you are going to leave the things unfinished so the audience can connect depending on their experiences. And I will tell you an example. So if you see the illustration of a white horse, some of the people in the audience are going to say that the white horse is really beautiful. But for the person who fell from the horse when he was a kid, this image is going to be disturbing. So you have to be really careful what are you going to tell and how this image is going to be perceived by the audience. And this is me. and this was my body before the long Canadian winter. You will forgive me, it was a long winter and carbs and proteins were there. And there is a story behind this image. So this t-shirt was given to me by my Seneca students on my birthday, and they were singing the song, "Happy birthday to you," and this, "Are you 1, are you 2, are you 40? It doesn't matter, none of your business." And they give me this because behind my back they call me Milan, what's the story, Pavlovic. And this is because during our presentation I always ask my students, so what's the story behind this image? So you need to tell me what was your intention. If you don't have the story, I will not accept it as a teacher. So you will have to convince me that you wanted to write down the story. So they gave me this thing. And I will start my presentation with my personal work, and everything that I have created is my sketchbook. So it starts with my sketchbook, it's just my daily routine, and the best thing that I have created, at least this is my opinion, is something that I created unintentionally. So I was not pressured by the deadline, I was not pressured by the structure, I was not pressured by the telling the story, I just let myself go. And you will see as we go through the images, many of these images from the sketchbook are going to actually end up in the real project. And I think it's very important for your development, and also you are keeping the track of how your mind is working. So 10 years from now, if you find your sketchbook from 2017, you're going to say, oh my God, I was so smart then, before industry crushed my creativity. No, I'm just joking, but you need to be completely relaxed and immersed in your thoughts. And by doing so, without the pressure, you are actually falling into the state of flow. So you are going to just to put anything on paper, and from now on, as I told to my students, there are no bad drawings. There are drawings, if you don't like it, there is a reason why you don't like it. So not liking something is emotional reaction. So it means that something needs to be fixed. And this is a good news for you, because you are actually able to perceive the image and to say something is wrong. If you know that something is wrong, as you go, you will be able to fix it. So some of the images are particularly peculiar, and they are telling the story. This is obviously an example that I overslept when we had a lecture that less is more. So I always do more and more and more and more. And this is an example of what I do when I just create the lines, just create the swirls on paper, so there is no intention. But from the abstract point of view, which is on the left side, you have a progression from organic kind of to anthropomorphic or the form of vegetation. And then I develop these images a little bit more, and I feel more and more comfortable and more confident about things. And this is also proof that you can create the story with the abstract images, and they're becoming symbolic. So sometimes only the lines are going to tell us the story. So people are going to connect on a very, very basic level. And of course, if you add a little bit of a character into this one, the story is going to be pretty unique. So I'm just moving to this and gradually adding more and more recognizable forms, and the story is going to be more and more into the connection with the audience. So a couple of things over there, just a black and white, and it ended up, you will see later, it ended up on the real project. And this is also an example that I do this thing very often, so I connect two things that are not connected in reality. So in this case, antlers and humans, to just achieve this level of peculiarity. Also, there is a strong sense of visual juxtaposition, duality, so deer and the human standing on 2 legs, 4 legs, and so on. And this is also, of course, the comment about the nature and about the civilization. And I moved to this one, so I added a speech balloon, and this one is going to be exhibited in Switzerland in a couple of weeks on a festival of graphic communication, illustration, and graphic design. And I wanted to have something unusual. So there is no such thing as loneliness. I believe that there is no such thing as loneliness for creative people. So sometimes the solitude, or when you detach from the media or smartphones or Facebook or whatever, and you're listening to your mind, those are the best moments in your life, and I think you should cherish those moments, because this is the only way that you are going to actually take a look inside and resurface some of your thoughts that are there, but you don't get the chance.